So, a question I get all the time, whether I'm leading a mastermind cohort or one on one clients or from speaking from a stage, is what is the sequence of making a big ask? So, this can be internal, in other words, if it comes to a new scope of something, a title, compensation, what have you, or external facing with clients. And so here's the thing, there's four things that are really important to do and to keep in mind about the sequencing in terms of when to make the asks. And so the first thing is, and you've heard me talk about this before, most likely, is that building a trust and safety runway. In other words, building that trust, and not trust that you can get something done, but trust that you explicitly talk about and express explicit concern about the other person's condition. And that makes them feel like they're cared for, which is one of our, in our hierarchy of needs, we need to feel safe and cared for. And this is a step that is often overlooked. And it's okay if you're wrong, because if you say to them, wow, it sounds like XYZ is incredibly important, and maybe you're a little bit off, then that's okay, because as you've probably experienced, people will love to correct you. And so after that is to not just maybe you've heard me talk about loss pain before. Loss pain is a huge driver when it comes to motivation, and before making an ask, it is important to understand and also be explicit about what you think their loss pain might be, but also really care about it. It's one thing to state it, but one thing I haven't talked about is truly caring about the other person's loss pain. And how do you do that? It's when you're talking about someone else's loss pain, it's important to slow your speaking a little bit and really lean in a little bit. So in other words, if we're talking about, losing traction in the quarter, something like that. So it's not just what to do, but it's how you do it, and also will help you to build that trust and show that you care. And so that's an important one. And then also, when you're talking about loss pain, it's also important. Again, I've talked about this a lot, but I haven't talked too much about timing. When you take someone low and you're talking about their loss pain, whether it's lost revenue, lost progress, lost traction, let them sit there. It's okay that they sit there for a second, but then make sure that you're going to end your conversation on a crescendo, and you can come in as the solution and be, you know what? I can absolutely help with that, and be the solution. And so if you take them down, then you can also bring them up. It's kind of like a nose of an airplane. If you've ever been in an airplane, it seems like it's going down, but then the nose, thank God, it, pulls up. And so you can actually be the solution. And then that's when you can come in, and then you can make your ask. I mean, your ask when it comes to sequencing, your ask is really step 4. Okay. And so now you can come in with the ask, and, as a no oriented question, but this ask should be based on two things. One is what's most important to them, what they can avoid losing, and your joint vision. Okay, so if you have those three things together, then that is really going to be some magic for you to gain buy-in, how to sequence a big ask and how to gain buy-in, and also how you can come in as the solution rather than asking them to give you something. So keep in mind, when it comes to sequencing and making an ask, it's trust, being explicit about that you care in their loss pain, how you deliver that message, and then also end on a crescendo, be explicit about solving the problem, and make your ask so they can say no instead of yes. So I am cheering you on always. If I can support you or your team, your organization in any way to have not just a seat at the table, but a bigger voice at the table, please do reach out to me directly.